everybody, welcome back to the PetaPixel podcast. It's loud. You're going to have to be okay with that. If you're watching the video, people will be walking in front of our camera. If you look behind us, you might see some famous people. I don't know. That's a game you can play as well. But the three of us are in front of the camera. Who's here?
I'm Jaron Schneider.
I'm Chris Niccolls. We're at the show floor of NAB, if that hasn't been made obvious. And we're here at the Rode booth with really nice sounding microphones and headphones. Also, big thanks to Saray for letting us borrow a tripod so that this camera angle is working right now. So that's we want to put that shout out as well.
It was a little bit of a scramble if I'm sweating at the start of the show as opposed to the end. That's why. Chris,
this other angle,
NAB?
this that I'm going to jump to, this I was calling the nostril cam, so this one's going straight up your nose, Chris.
He
so
chose
we'll
that
cut
he
to that on
wanted
occasion.
this.
Yeah, he wanted
the least flattering. I mean, he'll look really dramatic pointing the
Look,
camera.
I just feel like we should have a second camera angle at some point in case, I don't know, one of you coughs or sneezes or has a fit or who knows what. But
Well, do you have a question for us?
what was your question?
Yeah, I always like to open this with a really introspective question that'll help our audience learn a little bit more about us. Guys, how are your feet feeling?
Oh, great.
Great.
My feet feel fantastic.
Okay, but his feet feel fantastic because he's wearing Olakais. He
That's
just
right.
bought them brand new.
Didn't even have to wear them in.
I'm rocking the Ons. Swiss technology working pretty good for me. And Jordan, you've got your blunt stones.
They're doing great.
So I guess the key thing is if you want to do the job that we do and not be in constant pain, good footwear, 100%, most important
This applies
thing.
to not just trade shows, but like, man, shooting weddings, I would wear these to shoot a wedding.
There
My
you
feet
go.
Would be no pain at all. I mean, walking Japan, I'm going to wear these.
Yeah, your feet are still going to hurt after walking Japan. Or going from all the halls here at NAB, which, by the way, is the North American Broadcast Show.
There we go.
This is my first time being here, so I'm very excited. But you're like a veteran at this. Jaron, you're a veteran at this.
Yeah, I used to go every year, but that was a while ago. It's been like 6 years since I was here. So this is great to see everybody again. It's a very different feeling show.
Yes.
Jaron was here last year.
Yeah,
so
I
he's
came
like,
last year.
done
Yeah,
it.
I only
Been
came
there.
for a day last year, though, and I was only in the other hall. So we're in the North Hall. There is no Central Hall. There's a West Hall. So the North Hall is like where most of the brands that you're probably familiar with are. I can see Godox, Insta360, DJI,
yes.
Canon, Fujifilm, Nikon. They're all within sight. And we're here with Rode. So we have a lot to talk about this
Yes.
week. Tons of things. We're going to talk about what we like seeing here at the show. We got plenty of things to talk about there, but the one thing that we can't get away from, that we absolutely must discuss, are tariffs. So we're going to get to that right after the break.
That'll be fun. All right, guys, so we have been using only one supplier of music for over a year now. So you have seen us in our episodes talking about audio. They are our our only source of music for our show. And let me tell you about my life more than a year ago, okay? I would get a bunch of footage of him talking and there'd be pictures and stuff, and I would scroll through an endless library of music. Like page 3, scroll down to the bottom. No, none of those work. Next page. No, my life was awful more than a year ago. But thanks to audio, they have some brilliant searching tools that have made my life exponentially easier. So let's imagine I'm just like, you know what, Chris is taking some casual photos in a back alley. I want the music to sound like a Rage Against the Machine song. I can drop a Rage Against the Machine song and say, audio, give me a song that sounds like this. They're going to do that for me. Isn't that incredible, guys?
It is incredible.
Clap, damn it. What a great feature.
Please clap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give you another example. Let's say, I'm just saying, Chris is riding in a hot air balloon through the sky, taking dramatic, cinematic footage. What kind of music would I get that? I just type into the search bar on Audio's Hans AI
And it
tool.
has something for that?
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, of course, I know exactly what kind of music. It'll
Does it
give me
recognize
6
my
options.
name?
Basically, every time one of those 6 options is exactly what I was looking for. It saves me a massive amount of time, which is why they're just like, you want to talk about audio? Like, hell yeah, you can't stop me from talking about audio because things are going great for me. And you might be like, well, okay, you can easily search it. What is the music like? And that's the other thing I really like. They have selected artists. They are actually paying human beings to produce new music. And the music is excellent. It's very varied. Very varied.
Very, very.
That is.
They could use that as a slogan as well. Audio.
Very
I love this ad. I love it. I love it. We're learning new words, but yes, very helpful, very cool that you can use that. So I'm glad that it's bringing you peace and joy and taking some stress out of your life.
Yeah, it makes my life better, and they support the show. So
For
again,
what it's worth, I hear in the comments, people are like,
Yes.
that was good music.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
the music choice.
You know
so
what?
you not only do you have good taste, you have a selection of music
Thanks,
that
Jaron.
matches your taste.
People are enjoying it. So yes, definitely check it out.
and all of that is really exponentially increased since Hans came out. So that is legitimate proof. But thank you to Audio for sponsoring this episode. Golf clap, guys.
Again, golf
So,
clap?
Let me go ahead and add one little bit to this. You can get an exclusive deal. It's 70% off the first year of Audio Pro, which is just $59 for unlimited music and sound effects downloads. This is an exclusive partner deal with us that you can't get anywhere else. Go down to audio.com/PetaPixel or check the link in the description below and use code PetaPixel at checkout to take advantage.
And those tools I mentioned only available to Pro members. So
Yes.
you definitely want to jump on that.
So thanks again to Audio for sponsoring the PetaPixel podcast. Let's talk about the thing that is so much fun. The best thing ever.
Oh, wow.
So on April 2nd in the afternoon, after markets closed, it didn't really matter the next day, Trump announced a plan for a massive sweeping set of tariffs,
Yep.
including 24% on Japan, and theirs is 100% going to affect the camera
Yes.
industry.
And look,
it sucks.
we're not making this political. This has nothing to do with that. It's just a fact. This is what's happened to the industry, but we have to deal with it. And you know what's really interesting is one of the great things about NAB as a show is that we can go around, we can talk to a lot of the suppliers, and we have suppliers from all over the world here, and retailers and everything, and they're all like, I don't know
Exactly.
what we're going to do. Like, nobody seems to have any sort of way of really dealing with this. It's kind of a wait and see. There's lots of pre-orders, there's lots of new products, and you're like, what price is it going to be?
Launches. That's the
Yeah.
crazy thing. They're like, it's an exciting new product. We have no idea how much it'll cost for you, but in Europe, we've got a price for you.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah.
The one that stands out the most is that Blackmagic announced a camera like last week and had a price on it, and then 2 days later we're like, actually, it has to be this price because everything dramatically changed.
Yeah.
So
What most companies are doing is they're effectively just canceling pre-orders because they just don't know what
They don't want to deal with
Yeah.
people like, I pre-ordered at this price, it's coming in at this price. It's easier to just cancel and be like, here's the new price. Do you still want
that
to
is an
pre-order your
excellent
camera?
segue, actually, because related,
Jaron.
the Sony A1 II shortage, which has been a problem, they haven't been able to make enough of them. It's getting worse. Amazon has canceled pre-orders for this camera that they were saying even just a couple
Right.
weeks ago they'd be delivering in mid-May.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore. They are listing it as currently unavailable. We don't know when or if this item will be back in stock.
Yeah.
One of the things that you can still actually pre-order it on B&H, for example, but B&H doesn't have the same pre-order price guarantee that Amazon does. If Amazon had maintained those pre-orders, they would have been stuck with the original asking price, which is $6,500.
Well, and they have that policy where it's like, if
Correct.
you pre-order, we are guaranteeing we're locking, which is why we're seeing some companies not cancel because they've got in their, disclaimers like, hey, and the price may fluctuate. Where Amazon
Right.
says, we'll deliver at what you pre-order, which is why they now have to cancel.
that boxes them in a corner because they're not about to eat like a $2,500
Yeah.
loss because these cameras have no margins to begin with.
No.
So small. So like they're not gonna eat that. I honestly I don't have a ton of great things to say about Amazon, as I'm sure you guys don't either. But
no,
like
we
in
have
this-
no history with the company,
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
honest.
They've never done anything to you. I don't blame them in this case. You can't
No,
eat
of course
a
not.
$2,500 loss on a product.
I feel really bad for the retailers because photographic retailers have the lowest margin out of the whole supply chain, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
often working under 10%. I mean, you take credit card fees away and stuff. Like, there's no wiggle room. There's no mistake room. So, I wish we had more answers for you guys. I know a lot of you are asking questions. This is a big question right now. What's going to happen to pricing? Fact of the matter is, a lot of cameras are made out of Vietnam, Philippines, China, Thailand, and so all of these countries have put big tariffs on them. Another interesting question, though, the Canadian angle. That's something else.
Because we're selfish. We care a lot.
I care about you Canadians.
I appreciate. Well, the fact is Canada's not putting these same tariffs on these countries. So does that mean that product distributed and coming to Canada is not going to have the same prices? So then the question is, look, is Canada going to have, and not just Canada, any other countries, EU countries that don't have these issues, are they going to have lower prices and then there's going to be a lot of gray market activity, or is it going to be a thing where everybody's forced to raise their prices so they're all on parity? I don't, and who makes that money? I don't know. It's a tumultuous situation.
Yeah, we want to come on this podcast and be like, here it is, we figured it out, but we're not doing, like, this is just an ongoing story.
Look,
and no one, like the people making the things, that's the first chain in the pricing, and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is
it's going to take a while before resale.
I don't think there's any doubt the prices are going way up. There's just no doubt. The prices are going way up.
Yeah.
It's going to vary based on brand. It's going to vary based on manufacturing country. It's going to be based on where you live and where you're buying from. But the prices are going to go up. That is definitely guaranteed. What we don't know is how all the companies are going to respond, when they're going to respond, and what that increase is going to look like.
For what it's worth, it's been sort of this, it's not, I wouldn't say a cloud, but it's like hanging over a shoulder.
Oh.
Really everyone here.
Everybody.
Because everyone in this gigantic facility is affected by this.
And make no mistake, this is our industry, but all industries are affected by this. I mean, everybody's going through this right now, but the photo industry is going to be particularly hard hit because these are not affordable products to begin with. They are pricey products. Technology is that way, and now it's just going to get even worse.
But a GoPro is going to be very competitively priced, except it probably gets all its components from elsewhere. I can't think of another American-made camera.
I don't know.
One. Argus, bring back Argus.
Anyways, I mean, you know what? I wish we had information where the company's like, hey, look, this is our plan going forward. Everybody is honestly in a boat where they're like, we don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to have to stay tuned and see. So,
for what it's worth, as soon as we find out, and they have said that they will tell us as soon as they have answers, we will let you know. But for now, we've got nothing. I mean, look at it this way: Nintendo is not taking pre-orders for their new console because in North America because they can't figure out how much it is, so they're not even going to bother taking your money.
Exactly.
But it will be more. So
yeah, it's just all consumer electronics. Microwaves are going to suck too, people. It's going to be
televisions.
It's going to be interesting.
Oh, I really wanted to get a VCR player, and I don't know now if I can manage that.
I love kicking it off with a bummer. That's always the episode that's coming out. I should mention, actually, we're getting filmed. Our A cameras and our 50V. We're shooting the review while we're here, and you will get a similar degree of whiplash in that review, where we started with like all the things it can't do or does badly, and then it all turns around. So this podcast is going to follow that same narrative.
Well, I hope so.
And look, last thing I want to say is we apologize in a lot of the videos that we're going to be putting out here for the foreseeable future. When it comes to the pricing aspect, we're just going to be I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know what it competes with.
Like around this, or do we quote in euros or Canadian dollars?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm down with whatever. So
tell us in the comments how to do our job moving forward.
What
we have no
currency
idea.
would you like us to?
We'll
do our reviews
do it
right
in British
now.
pound sterling. All right, next story that we are going to talk about is one that I don't know if you guys were familiar with, but last week. Oh, before I do this, by the way, thank you to Joshua for sending me an email about the A1 Mark II Amazon thing. Appreciate the tip. That allowed us to do the story. So big thumbs up to you. Moving on, that reminded me because we had another reader who was telling us a little bit about a problem at DxO.
We have the best readers.
A reader named Jai told me that he had pre-ordered DxO's Pure Raw 5 Deep Prime because he was told by DxO that they were going to add Fujifilm X-Trans support. That's what it said in the original launch, and at the time of that we published on their website. Well, a couple days ago, which is a month and a half after that happened, he had pre-ordered already, and he'd already been using the software because they give you access to it when you pre-order. Well, he found out from an email that, by the way, that didn't include X-Trans 5. So any 40 megapixel Fujifilm camera wasn't supported.
New exciting cameras.
That's what he had. Yeah. So he tried to get his money back, and they wouldn't give it to him because he'd been using the access he had gotten because he had pre-ordered it.
Right.
Well, we looked into it, wrote a story, and DxO apologized. They acknowledged that announcement was misleading, and they did give him his money back.
Look at us holding people accountable.
For good you are in this.
That's not what I wasn't digging for that.
No.
It was most.
No, take the compliments. We're just going to keep hurling them across the table at you.
Essentially, the issue is that DxO's been having a hard time making for what it's worth, here's the quote. from them. Let us clarify, this is from DxO, let us clarify that camera support situation. Both Deep Prime XD and the new Deep Prime 3 technology, which will be introduced in Pure RAW 5, work with all sensors, including 5th generation X-Trans. Only the Deep Prime XD3 X-Trans beta model, which is the one that he was looking forward to, does not yet support them. So if you don't care about that beta, then you're fine. But if that's all you cared about, they will give you your money back.
Very cool.
We're heroes.
I like the sound of these mics.
Yeah?
These Rode podcasting mics are working really well. We're very dynamic. You got to be close. We're hugging it, but hopefully it's not crazy loud.
Yeah.
Like
You're gonna hear
licensed
crowd noise.
music
Yeah.
all over the place. So we'll see if we get copyright flagged.
You missed Bohemian Rhapsody and a little bit of Michael Jackson. So
I'm glad we missed it.
we'll see.
Wouldn't want to try and get rid of that. The next story on the board is that after we spoke with Fujifilm in Prague, we covered a story that the GFX 100 RF's leaf shutter. Yeah, you don't expect that on any other GFX camera. They are not doing leaf shutters.
It's going
Right.
back into deep storage.
Essentially,
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
If you want leaf shutters, use an adapter.
And look, this is something that we've talked about for quite a long time because obviously having a studio-based camera, medium format, kind of the realm for that, it would be great to have leaf shutters to use flashes with fast shutter speeds. And so, and this has been a hallmark of medium format cameras for decades. So we figured, okay, well, when are you guys going to make them? This has been years since they started the GFX lineup, right? Also, keep in mind that companies like Hasselblad, they basically do that by default in their lenses.
Fujifilm used to make the lenses for the Hasselblad.
Hasselblad.
Yeah.
So we'd love to see these, and we're hoping like, hey, is that going to come? Looks like they're just like, I don't know. Maybe they're going to rely on third party. That could be a market for third party to do. I don't know.
Fujifilm doesn't seem that interested in doing leaf shutters for themselves, but they make that adapter, and they say use the adapter.
Yes, you can use H-series glass. Yes, absolutely.
So can I call BS here for a minute? Their explanation was like, look, leaf shutters will lead to very large lenses, and we've been using Hasselblad H-series with leaf shutters that are like really bitty lenses, in a lot of cases smaller than the GF lenses from Fujifilm. And so, yeah, I do think like they're going to need a stopgap. When we first asked them about this, they're like, look, sensors are getting faster and faster. Soon they're going to be reading out so fast. We don't need a focal plane shutter. It's just going to go boom. We're still waiting for a fast medium format sensor. It hasn't happened. As a stopgap, I think there should be some native GF leaf shutter lenses.
Right. Either that or electronic flash will die. I don't know which one's going to come for that.
I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. It doesn't sound like.
I know.
Yeah.
The other thing too is it's not possible to port that lens that they're using on the 100 RF and make that an actual interchangeable lens. Because the back optic is basically like right up against the sensor.
Exactly.
You just can't do it.
Purpose built for that camera. Yes, that's a good
if you
point.
want that, you got to use that camera. Well, I've got some more fantastic news.
This better be uppers. Do we have any uppers in here?
Not a one.
Next
one.
You take downers, then you got to take some uppers.
Nope.
You got to go work the next day.
So we're looking at
Vegas
their booth
works.
right now, DJI.
Yes.
That last week they are urging the U.S. government to do the thing that they said that they were going to do.
Right.
So last year, DJI avoided an outright ban in the United States. As part of that, they were supposed to undergo a thorough review by the U.S. government.
Right.
That needed to be completed by the end of this year. Well, DJI says, hey guys, there's less than 9 months left in this year and you have not started. We would very much like you to do that, please.
Audit us.
I love it. They're like, whatever you're going to do to us, can you please do it to us sooner than later? Yes, absolutely.
They sent this letter. I have the letter. It's posted on the website. I put a link in the description below. And they essentially sent it to everyone. Yeah. Like basically anyone who's leading a major congressional group, as well as all of the people in high-ranking U.S. departments. They sent this letter to begging them to please come investigate us. Please start.
They're just trapped in the Tower of London. Like, I don't care what the punishment is. Just get it over with.
You don't want to be in limbo, right? Limbo's a bad place to be. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, here's some great news, though, right? Fujifilm is going to raise its prices. Oh, never mind.
Did you just skip one? I had a nice story,
horrible.
but we're going to go with it.
Yeah, let's do the bad one first. Let's get them out of the way.
Fujifilm announced that they are hiking the price of film in Japan, which is really the only place you can get their film easily, by 21 to 52%.
Oh.
So we have a graph here. Color negative film, it will increase in price from 21 to 22%. Films without lens, I don't know what that means, but that's going up by 44%. And reversal film will increase between 31 and 52%. And reversal is I like reverse.
But up to this point, analog film has been like dirt cheap, right? I mean, everybody's been enjoying this like super
Everybody's
affordable
commenting. Yeah, I'm ditching
being
my digital
facetious.
to
Oh,
save
good.
money.
Okay.
I'm
good.
sorry, I'm being facetious. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
analog is ridiculously expensive, and now it's going to get even more expensive.
So we did some math. A 36-shot roll of Fujifilm Provia 35mm is 4,680 yen, which last week, I don't know if it's still accurate, translated to just about $32 a roll.
Wow,
and
yeah.
you know how much I like that. And I have many of them, and you can just hear the money every
So
time
is that
I'm racking
80
it.
cents a pop, basically?
And then I have to, more when you think of the development cost.
Well, what's
but I don't.
I brought
do.
Jaron all that I brought Jaron all that slide film like before the price went up. So
yeah.
expect to see it on eBay here for a higher price.
It's mine. It is absolutely mine, and I bought more in Japan.
Yes, before all this.
Yes, and I'm glad I did because I spent like $311 for that whole batch, which included some Seagull and Rolei. It would now cost $328 just for the film that I bought that was Fujifilm.
Yes.
So not even including the extra stuff. So way higher price.
Look, legitimately, we are concerned for you guys, our viewers, the people who are the end users of all these products, because I know that life isn't getting any more affordable and the industry is not getting any more affordable, quite the opposite. And so we worry
expensive
ourselves.
hobby.
Yeah,
I should have taken up golf.
we worry. Well, that's might be cheaper now. Or
Yeah,
skiing might even be cheaper. But like seriously, we worry about how the industry is going to fare. We worry about what ramifications will come down the pipeline for our jobs, and then obviously also for you guys, the end user, because we get a lot of comments like, we'll say a camera's affordable, and it's not affordable for a lot of people, and that's a legitimate concern. Like, it's not an affordable art form in a lot of ways. So maybe we'll start to like focus on, as much as we want to show products, I think it'd be worthwhile to do stories where we talk about affordable alternatives and used gear and stuff, because I think more than anything that's going to be really important to understand right now for a lot of viewers.
Definitely helps that we have a partner in KEH.
Yes.
Because, I mean, they're not going to be affected. That was a question. I guess I can skip to
Let's
it.
do it. It makes sense. Why
The
not?
question we got this week was, is there any tariff when we buy from KEH? This is from 12 Happy Camper.
Valid question.
No, there is not, because tariffs are. For those who don't understand what a tariff is, it's an import tax.
Yeah.
Essentially, the U.S. government charges a importer, and the importer is the person who brings the stuff in. So it's not the country it comes from. It's in here, the person who's doing the importing gets charged that fee.
Yeah, and that has to be passed on to you.
They're not just going to absorb that. They're going to pass it on, and it goes down the line. So if there is no fee, then there's no increase. So for KEH, who's only getting stuff from inside the country, usually, I don't know how Canada's going to work. That's probably going to increase the cost
Who
when they
knows?
come to the camera store.
Maybe.
That would, I think, because they got to cross the border with it. They gotta
and then pay
a higher
duty
tax.
on it and everything, yes.
But everything in the United States should be fine.
Well, and it's worth pointing out as well, like, yes, right now, if you go to KH, buy something really quick, say we sent you, that would be appreciated.
Okay, sure.
But as a result, I do think used prices are about to really increase,
because the
because if
demand
the
will go
current
up.
ones are, absolutely, that's going to go up as well.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
As demand increases.
So
that'll
watch
happen.
this podcast to the end to keep watch
Yeah.
time up, but then go to KEH and buy whatever you've been like wishy-washy about.
I'm so sorry about all the downers, but like now we can do a couple happy stories.
Yeah, I got two things to talk
Yes,
about.
that's why I
I'm
did
glad
that.
You skipped. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
that's why I did that. We got to do happy
Both
stories
of these
now.
are Jordan stories.
Nice.
So the first one is DaVinci Resolve 20, the latest version, which got announced at the very end of last week, has more than 100 new features, and it's still free.
Yeah, we haven't gone down to Resolve yet to take a look.
Yeah.
Well, to Blackmagic.
Yeah, we're
with
going tomorrow.
everything.
Yeah, we're going to talk to
new
them tomorrow.
cameras as well. But yeah, just like quickly perusing this list, there's a couple things that are really interesting. They are dipping their toe into the word AI, which they've always avoided doing.
Yeah.
They're very much like workflow streamlined and things like that. But these are the things that we find AI really useful for, like auto captions. It's going to analyze your entire timeline, look for trouble spots, things like that. Basically, not making creative decisions for
Just
you.
making your life easier.
But all of these little pain points that are time-consuming and stuff, that seems to be what they're like, can we address this in a meaningful way? And it does definitely run contrary to Adobe, which is just AI does everything for it. Like there is much less of a thing on like, it'll help you
Definitely two
creatively,
different
and more like it'll do it for you.
Now,
or take jobs away.
so I have a question for you, Jordan. Like, I know that we're Final Cut. We like to use Final Cut for a lot of our editing. I used to use Resolve, and Do you feel like a lot of people in your position now are going to be tempted to look at it and be like, maybe this is a good time to switch?
That was a quick yes.
Yeah,
that was a quick yes.
I have a very weird niche use case, which is I'm putting sequences of massive photos side by side.
Right.
And Final Cut's exceptionally good for that. In the past, Resolve has not been. I actually use Resolve quite a bit to just like get a base grade on a clip and things. If we're processing RAW, even if it is supported in Final Cut, I do my RAW conversion in DaVinci. But for the majority of people out there, like the amount that they're innovating here compared to everyone else, it's very rapid. So
you know, also Resolve Studio, which unlocks I think the higher resolutions and some other small
different
things.
data rates.
Yeah. That used to be really expensive. I thought it was like $1,000 for a while,
when it first launched.
But the free was always so good. Well, now it's $295.
Well, you know what's interesting, Jaron? That's the same price as Final Cut, which I think was a very conscious decision from them.
Yeah.
I feel like Blackmagic sells, I'm putting air quotes up, sells because it's free for most people. They're taking a loss knowing they're just grabbing market share. I don't know what they're going to do with that market share that they eventually have. I mean, I guess they just have it. I don't feel like they're going to turn around and charge those people because I don't think you can. But
even in the last 5 years, you look at how quickly, they may not be like the absolute dominant force in the industry, but talking at NAB, the people who are very involved with it, they almost seem to be at this point.
Right.
Unless people are like deeply, there's still going to be a huge professional workflow for Avid. That's a big thing while we're out here. There's still a lot of people using Adobe, especially when we talk to like younger people, creators or film school students here, it's Resolve. That is the standard.
It's super smart because let's say you could talk about experienced editors who are like tried and true Final Cut user or Avid user, Premiere user, and now, yes, I have to learn a whole new system. I got to change things. That's a big ask. But what's really smart about making your software free is it's all the new beginners. Of course they're going to go to DaVinci Resolve. Why not?
Yeah.
It's powerful software. It costs them nothing. They can invest time to learn it. And then if they feel like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to use, you got your hooks in them. They can buy $295, not expensive in that regard. And
that's how like 10 years ago Final Cut became the standard. Is it was super easy to pirate. It was very expensive, but
that is how Jordan started. He pirated it.
Everyone I think did at some point.
My editor at the time, we will not be named, pirated Final Cut and did a great job cutting my stuff early on.
Yes, Jordan has paid for Final Cut for a long time.
You mentioned.
No, I paid once.
You paid once a decade ago, and it's really
still
paid off.
Best investment,
best money you've ever made.
All right, last news story of the week. And you have updates on this. So we published yesterday, I believe, that the Fujifilm GFX Eterna. We have some more details on it. And today we spoke with Fujifilm. And we learned more details on those details.
And they said on the record, like, hey, you guys can announce this. So we got more details.
Let me go over, you can go over it with me, Jordan.
The GFX Eterna is cool because, you can go right over the display if you happen to be in the Las Vegas area for NAB. And it's by far one of the biggest attractions they've got a mock-up under glass, but it's there.
It's not, I think it actually turns on. It's not.
Oh, yeah, I know. Screens are on and everything like that, but obviously it's not final in any way. But yeah, that's been garnering a lot of attention.
All right, so here are the new details that we have. The camera will have a variable electronic neutral density filter with strengths ranging from 0.6 to 2.1 or light reduction ranging from 2 to 7 stops. What's the update on that?
Okay, so first of all, we knew there was going to be an ND. An electronic ND is really surprising because that's Sony's thing, right? That's been one of the big advantages of Sony cinema cameras. Having electronic ND, very exciting, but then I had a follow-up question, which is, will this move smoothly in small increments? Because then you can just set creatively the aperture or iris that you want, the shutter speed that you want for motion. You can just adjust exposure with that brilliant little ND. And they said, yes, this will move in 1/10 of a stop increments, and it'll do it smoothly. So then my follow-up question is, will this give us auto ND, which is a very useful tool where you can just do exactly what I said, but as we're working through changing lighting conditions, as opposed to cranking your ISO or whatever, it's just gonna use the ND filter. We love this. We're not sure yet. That's still
under development.
But an electronic ND is really exciting.
They've assured us
NDs were coming.
They've assured us that they are looking at the maximum potential that they can wring out of this technology. So that sounds quite favorable going forward.
And it's also Fujifilm, historically, pretty damn good with firmware
updates.
So if it's not there at launch, this is a software function. This is not hardware, so they could add it later.
So the next thing they have is that the Eterna supports internal NPW235 batteries, the same 2200 milliamp rechargeable battery used in a variety of Fujifilm cameras, including GFX models. Further, the internal battery is automatically charged via an external power source.
Yes.
But we got even more information about this.
Yeah, so when I heard that, they said it's for changing batteries, is
Hot
the idea
swapping.
here.
Hot
Yeah, you
swapping.
You can just quickly pop them off. So I'm like, okay, well, is the camera then going into a standby mode when you're doing that? Because I had an idea, like if I want to just quickly cut down weight and get a shot, could I just pull the V-mounts off the back, run it off this internal, and do some recording? And they said, yes, this is actually going to be compatible with recording. They can't give us runtime numbers at this point.
There's
but they
too
did
many
say,
factors, I think, is what it was. Like, what if you got plugged into the camera?
Yeah.
So they don't know. But
Yeah, you could be running a lens that draws a lot of power, things like that. Man, the guys here are just like keeping people from walking into. They're ninjas right now. So, big ups to Alex.
Yeah. I know you can't see them right now, but we got a whole crew of people who are just like trying to work interference, trying to keep people from walking in front of the camera. They're doing a great job.
The people from Rode are very nice, and we told them they can use us as advertisements too. Like, go ahead and tell people that this works really well, because it does.
Yes, it's going into the RCV right now, and it's sounding great. I think the sound's fantastic.
The other things that they mentioned about the Eterna is that it supports CF Express Type B and SD cards. Presumably UHS-2, because it's essentially going to be the same thing. You'll
still want to run CF Express Type B for your highest quality record
What I
rates.
understand is that it's the same. Whatever the same spec was for the GFX cameras, it's going to be the same spec on this.
And it didn't have any insanely high. Like it's capable of recording ProRes, but it's nothing. Yeah, absolutely bananas, where you're going to need those highest spec CF Express cards. But I am a little bit surprised. I think it would be great if we had redundant recording. Would make a lot of sense on a professional cinema camera.
Right.
And you can, certainly in the lower data rates. That's even the case on the GFX cameras.
Yep.
But if it's something that requires CF Express, then obviously that's not going to be functional.
Or it does a proxy, a lower quality proxy.
Yeah, but I could see them maybe kicking that out through USB to give you a backup. That's something they could potentially do, so we'll see. They didn't speak to it.
Some other things that I don't think we have more information on this, just the other stuff they announced. It will work with the Tascam XLR microphone adapter handle accessory.
Yeah.
And it will also natively work with Frame.io for camera to cloud.
Yeah, I do want to touch on the audio thing. This is a big professional cinema camera. It is odd that there's no XLRs on the body itself. So yeah, the Tascam currently is their only official solution for that, but with it being, such a professional body, looking around at all the companies that make third-party accessories,
I'm sure there'll be others.
There's going to be probably some more, because I'm not crazy about having the big plastic top handle coming off, especially the top of a cinema camera. The boxiness is the appeal of it. So I bet we're going to see some more form-fitted XLR solutions in the future, because everyone buying this camera is going to want the option for internal.
Yes.
So we still don't know when this thing's coming, other than they've said 2025.
Right.
Something else that we're expecting to get in 2025 is a 32 to 90 power zoom. That's been on their roadmap since 2023. So that it just seems like things that could go together. And I'll leave it at that.
Things that might be demoed together.
Yeah. All right. So, with that said, let's move on and talk about the stuff at NAB.
Yeah, because we're here at NAB, right? And there's so many exciting products. There's lots of cool stuff.
I mean, the best of the show goes to the flashing cowboy hat that's walking by us right now. So, that's number one.
So you guys
will not get context for that.
You may have more things. I'm sorry. We're not.
It
just
happened.
Take his word. Take Jordan's word. I saw it too. I will admit.
It was blinking.
It was not a hit, like a delusion or anything like that. I saw it too. It was pretty great.
So when I put this together this morning, you guys had a list of things you wanted to talk about. If you have anything else that you've seen today that's in addition to this, please feel free. But the first one that Chris demanded that we talk about, Smoke Ninja.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Coming to the show, this is my first time. I know it's going to be broadcast-based, video-based. Am I going to find things here that I would be interested in? I don't know. Turns out, yes. And actually, this is one that both Jordan and I are fascinated by. The Smoke...
I lost my S.
The Smoke Ninja. Yes, the Smoke Ninja. I mean, these are very cool, portable... ambiance hazers. Yeah, they make mist, they make smoke. It's really cool for photography. It's very cool for video. They also can make little cloud bubbles, though.
I don't know what the point of them are, other than to be really cool.
Yeah. If you're doing like a macro shot in slow-mo and you just have a little smoke drop down, and
dude,
I'm going to do that when I'm showing a lens, there's going to be a little bubble of smoke.
No,
it's going to hit the front
it's
element.
A white bubble.
boof. It's going to be great.
Did you not see the joy in my face when it landed in my hand and it exploded?
It's just cool.
That high-pitched giggle, if you're watching our Instagram Reels right now, that was not staged.
Yeah.
That was Chris walking into the booth, expressing delight as the smoke bubbles started.
Chris is like looking
Straight
at
up.
me with daggers in
Dude,
my eyes because I'm not as excited.
I am doing David Bowie, Goblin King, Labyrinth style stuff. I'm putting the tights on. I'm gonna have the hair. I'm gonna have the really sexy ambiguity going on. It's gonna be great.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Well,
But and I'm gonna have that in my hand. Just smoke flies. Anyways.
Okay, so let me talk practically. The Smoke Ninja existed before, and
Yes.
I was very curious about just a small
the
little
Smoke
hazer.
Genie was the name before.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I said it was a Smoke Ninja, and you guys were like, no, it's
Okay,
not.
yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
You were
I
like,
wanted
no,
to
it's
look at
not.
that.
Yeah, and then I'm like, no, it's a Smoke Ninja. And was I right or wrong? I just want to get this out of the way first.
was right.
I widely apologized for what I said.
But Jordan hasn't
We
apologized
did it off
yet.
mic. I did do it off mic, but here I am on mic saying, Chris, I'm sorry. I doubted your remembering of the name of a product. It's never happened to you, and yeah.
So were you going to say
enormously
practical use cases?
Practical use case. So the really interesting thing with the Pro, it's obviously kicking out a little bit more. You can fill a space faster.
Yes.
But what I loved is you could actually stack them. So
Yeah.
you could have like 3 of them going. You push the power on one of them. Suddenly you've got 3 hazers going
Put
in different
3
areas. Put them together or in different areas on a set. So instead of just having everything in
Yeah.
one corner, filled up from different areas. Like it's very practical.
I mean, look, I don't know if this is a new feature, but it is just neat as a side point that you can have them in different groups, like A, B, C, place these multiple units everywhere, have them all hooked up on different groups, and then you can trigger group A, trigger group B, trigger group C to do really neat timed effects. I think that's pretty cool.
Could you imagine being like Blackmagic's marketing person and they're like, we just announced a 12K Pixis camera and the PetaPixel guys showed up and talked about a hazer for 5 minutes on the most exciting thing at the show.
It was
to kick
incredible.
off their section?
Well, I mean, if you want to, Jordan, we can skip to the Blackmagic and you can talk about that 12K camera because that is
What
on the
black,
list.
what
I
black
think it's
magic
hilarious.
cam? No, we'll come to that at the end.
Okay, at the end. All right. So the next one, the one that you were also super excited about.
Yeah,
Chris.
so Nisi's a pretty cool company. I mean, they're making anamorphic lenses, which is really neat. They're making lots of accessories. But actually, what was really cool were their magnetic filters. And that, again, is something that I would find interesting.
We all like magnetic filters.
Yes.
But they have downsides.
Well, so we like the Maven magnetic filters. Jordan and I both use Maven magnetic. They're
Optically, they're excellent.
optically excellent. You know, you basically have an adapter that screws in. You can then click the filters on and off. But the Nisis have a really neat feature. First off, there's metal, for lack of a better term, grips on them. They're very small, low profile, but they do give you a nice purchase on the
Tabs.
filter. Tabs, yeah,
They're
where
like-
you're not going to get your fingers on the filter and stuff as often. But also, when you line them up on the magnetic filter to these markings there, they lock in place, and that's really smart.
Yeah, like you can hold the lens by the filter because it's not going to pop off.
Yeah, and
But
you
then
know,
it's easy to twist and turn and get it off again.
I've never had this with Maven filters, but I've had it with other magnetic filters where you bump them or you're going through the bush and they disappear. So the idea that you can put these in a locked position just for safety's sake is a nice extra peace of mind step.
Well, the other thing, too, is I'm constantly putting a camera in and out of a camera bag when we're filming, and I just leave NDs on. When I pull it out of the bag, the majority of the time,
They're
the
gone.
filters are still in the bottom. With this, they're locked. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you guys spent a bunch of time looking at them. Like, you really like them.
It just,
it makes sense for it will make our jobs better. So that's exactly what we come
Hopefully
here.
we can
It's
play
just
with
like,
those.
If it's useful for us, other photographers and videographers are going to find it useful.
And they have
as well.
like a 1 to 5 variable ND, 1 to 5 stop variable ND. You can stack other NDs or polarizers on top of that and stuff. Like, it's just magnetic is always a very convenient, very useful setup. This just seemed to be refined even slightly more, and so they look nice.
Black Pro Mist like it's 2017, baby, all day.
Yeah, or Vaseline, whatever your weapon of choice is.
This next one is one that I put on here because I wanted to reveal something. So Saramonic announced a new mic yesterday called the K9.
Yes.
And this microphone is the one that Chris and I used in Prague.
Yes.
So if you liked the way the sound was in the Prague scenes, we didn't shoot it for the one in Alberta.
Yeah. I didn't have it. Also, I wasn't in Prague.
Yeah.
If you missed that, I did not go to Prague.
So I had to
They
shoot
did.
it.
That's
Yeah.
not
those two.
that was not our fault.
not
I'm
me.
sorry. story.
The guy in the middle?
Nothing to do with
No.
us.
At any rate, some feedback on these. I think the sound quality is quite good.
Very high.
That
I like-
capsule's good.
Yeah.
I like the capsule.
Yes.
We figured out that we were attaching it wrong. So there's like the way the gator clip. He calls them vampire clips. You both do.
We didn't do the broadcast loop. That was silly.
Yeah, they require a broadcast loop, which you like kind of loop it around and click it in. Otherwise, the neck of it comes off immediately. Chris lost a alligator clip. No exaggeration.
I actually lost 2.
You did. We found the second one.
Within
so it wasn't
2
lost.
minutes, yeah.
Within immediately. You had
Yeah.
that on and gone because it was
To
not
their
a
credit,
match.
they're very skinny and small, so they don't show up on your clothing. But if you drop them on the ground, good luck. I mean,
Also, so yes, that was a user error. These things have they're really good, and they're automatically like they understand where you are in like geotagging you, so it knows what frequency to use depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not in the United States,
Yes.
you get 32-bit float onboard recording.
You do.
If you are in the United States, you still get the onboard recording because it has built-in storage plus micro SD cards in there for that, so you can record to the wireless receiver or transmitter, and you can also record to the camera simultaneously for backup,
Yeah.
which is super nice.
In other regions, so in the U.S., it's disabling the ability to transmit while recording internally because Zaxcom owns the patents, and that has been an issue now
Yeah.
for 20 years, I think.
yeah. Now, to give context, these are expensive microphones, although a little bit less money than competitive things.
They're
Why
$1,000.
Yeah, why they're that price is they are UHF band microphones, and so this is not the first time. I mean, we've seen this from Sony, we've seen a lot of brands, and that UHF bandwidth lets you then avoid very common bandwidth issues where you'll have dropouts with other microphones or lots of interference, and so it just gives you this broader range to have connectivity with and good distance as well.
On top of that, the range
Yes.
is really good. The one that
Yeah.
I can think of, where I heard him breathing because he didn't turn his mic off, is Chris was like way far away from me in Prague,
And I was going,
and I could hear him. very
Jaron's out of
clearly.
eye line. I can breathe heavily for a minute. He'll never know.
I thought I was in a private place, but apparently, no.
No, heard him clearly. Anyway, these mics are nice. These are probably what I would consider if I was still running my my studio in San Francisco, because I was using like Sennheiser G2s probably at the time.
Right.
And this would be a current equivalent to that because
Yeah.
we look, there's the...
Or Sony UWP is very popular as well.
Yeah, Sennheiser has their DP series, which would be the equivalent to this. Exact same price, but that's just single transmitter, single receiver.
Yes.
This you get both, and you get those really nice capsules. So it is definitely a value
Yeah.
proposition.
But just, as a side point too, even if you're like, I don't care about microphones, I won't buy Saramonic, I don't, whatever, you should definitely check out, they have another promotional material on the YouTube channel, their violence test, they call
really
them.
funny.
And that
Yeah.
was hilarious. It was hilarious.
The most deadpan.
Just terrible things to the capsules, and they survive. And like, it's adorable. It's worth watching.
It's funny.
Even if you have no desire to buy the microphones, it's absolutely worth
I think
watching.
it's fair to say there could be a link in the description if we
Sure, I'll
remember.
put it up. I'll find it.
Man,
I'll
would we
find it.
do that for people? Okay.
All right, the next thing is, Chris, you just were going to say, like, man, Viltrox is killing it.
Viltrox is killing it, yes. And, you guys said, hey, we want you to review more Viltrox lenses, and we are. And so we got a lot of stuff coming out, but we got to see a lot of the new things. They have the 135, 1.8, and this is part of their lab series. And for me, I think they're making fantastic optics here. They really are. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, they also have anamorphics, and this is something that is a topic I wanted to bring up, is we're seeing all kinds of lens manufacturers bring up their budget anamorphics, and they are all 1.3 or 1.5 squeeze factors. They're not like, if I am going to put an anamorphic on, I want a dramatic squeeze, like 1.8
He wants 2
minimum.
times almost
And
minimum, yeah.
almost no one's doing it. Like we went by the Atlas booth, and it's like, yeah, these things rock. but they're-
Yeah,
a
how much
lot
are
of
they?
yeah, they're completely out of our range. So
Jordan,
I'm hoping
how much is a 35 millimeter from Atlas?
from Atlas, I'm gonna spitball like 14 grand. I mean, again, I'm not checking pricing right
Yeah,
now.
but
No.
just
But
to
we
give
did
people an
talk about
idea.
they asked, like, do you guys want to take a look at a set? And I'm just like, I don't want to be liable for the amount that these lenses cost.
It's
But
like a
yeah, we
dangerous
were
amount.
seeing some really interesting
Yeah.
heavy squeeze optics a few years ago, and that seems to largely be going away. I think it's a pricing issue, but I want to see some big time squeeze anamorphic lenses when
Yes.
they come back next time.
But it's cool, though, that if you are wanting to get an anamorphic shooting and you're on a budget, there is a plethora of lenses available to you. Viltrox, for sure. But yeah, fantastic photographic lenses, very interesting. They got APS-C glass. They got, anamorphic glass. They're really doing some really cool
Anamorphic
stuff.
autofocus is now a
Yes,
thing. So
absolutely.
we're seeing progress. I just want to see bigger squeeze factor.
Sure. But at least you'll save some money compared to the contemporary companies out there. And again, right now, that's very important.
speaking of squeezing into tight spaces,
Oh boy.
I don't know, that was a terrible segue.
That's sexy.
You guys want to talk
You
about...
could absolutely put this into very tight places.
What about a Laowa zoom probe?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We've played with the We've played with the probe lenses before. That sounds so funny. We've probed many times. We're going to probe
We've
again.
played and probed.
Yeah, we play and we probe, and we probe when we play. And this is cool because normally you have a fixed focal length. This thing has an internal zoom, so it's still sealed and all that kind of stuff. And we actually did a really cool focus pull stretch.
We did a stretch, yeah.
Yeah.
And as soon as they announced it, like, oh man, I wonder what a stretch would look like there. And then we show up at the booth and the sliders.
Yeah.
So I'm not a creative genius. Everyone had the same
on.
idea immediately.
Yes.
And guys, I got to tell you, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looks pretty
So
good.
would you like to... Do you want to spend more time with this lens?
We're going to take a deeper probe into what this lens can do. Yeah,
I
for
don't like
sure.
how that sounds at all.
Yeah. We are
Just
going...
nothing but stretches. But I
Yeah.
would like to use it with a motorized slider. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we could do something a little bit more controlled. And we'll see how it is optically.
We will spread our resources. We will swallow whatever we have to make this happen, and we will take a deeper dive on the new Zoom Probe lens. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be fun.
Gross. The next thing on here, we're gonna hit them again. Saray, thank you very much for the tripod. We're not using it. We're using
What
a tripod
a great
here.
company.
But they had something else that you really like, Jordan.
Yeah, so I've for years just been like iFootage, Cobra, the 2 and the 3. Those things paid my bills. I use them multiple times every week. That's my default
Yes.
support system. Then the Cobra 3 Strike came out, where you can just pinch the handle, raise and lower it. Guys, I got to be honest, I've been having some problems with that.
I know it's not in focus. I took a photo of it. It's the SVM 165.
I wasn't there yet, but okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm
Yeah,
giving
you ruined
backstory for why I'm excited. I'm looking at other monopods for the. I'm looking at a monopod dalliance, if you will.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's cheating on his significant other. We talked about swinging last time, and I'm telling you, like, it's not me, it's him.
Wow, Jordan, you did this.
You're
to
about to
yourself.
step out on your life partner.
I did not. Okay, anyway, I walked past the Viltrox booth and they're like, Jordan, the swinger, that was great. That was a highlight of this trip.
Did that
for
actually
me.
happen?
That did happen.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris.
This is
Anyway,
the best news he's heard the
So
entire
this
show.
monopod,
Okay, so anyways, the Strike, it got really cold in Canada as it does. It's not working as well. I've had some issues with the foot pedal sticking, so I'm like, I gotta look at some other options. So we go over there, and basically from Saray, we're seeing a show me the model of the monopod now,
Well,
Chris.
but I already showed everybody. But it's the SVM 165P. So this has a very similar setup where you've got what's a hi-hat, even though it's really low. Is that what you like? Yeah.
You can snap it off and have a hi-hat option.
Yeah, basically like a floor level option. It's got a very similar kind of quick release mechanism, but what I like is the locking twist then gives you really loose functionality for the whole monopod.
Yeah, you can think of it like a G-lock.
Yeah.
But essentially that unlocks the entire extension for the monopod, which seems like that's a really nice solution where, even if it's slightly loose, it's not going to suddenly uncontrollably drop, like what
Yes.
I'm experiencing with the iFootage right now.
Yes.
Foot pedal is then your level for it, which makes a lot of sense. That's something iFootage has done previously.
Totally.
Looks very well made, so I'm gonna review it. I think I'm gonna compare the best of the monopods and
Yeah.
see who comes out on top. I'm excited to try that.
The Cobras have always held Jordan's eye, but
But I've been having
that's
some
it.
issues
Oh,
with the latest one.
he's taking a second look.
The top is wobbling on my. I don't know.
I'm just
guys,
saying
it's
he's got
bad.
some faithfulness issues. That's all I'm saying.
all right. Well, I feel like you're taking that
Just
out of
reading
proportion.
so much into so much.
We've got
All right.
2 more things on this list. One of them is from Nanlite.
That was pretty cool. It's a stick LED, and I know you're like, oh, geez, more
Everybody's
stick
gonna stick
LEDs.
LEDs.
It's like such a big thing,
You can't throw a rocket nut in a stick LED.
Yeah, the stick LED, right? But you know what? I liked it because it's like this. It's like this long. It's about this big. Everybody,
Yeah.
it's about that long.
So
Yeah.
listeners,
Yeah, listeners, it's, I don't know, what,
A foot.
14 inches? I don't know. But the cool thing is it's small enough that you could put in your bag, in your camera bag. Of course, you've got all the RGB effects. You can do candlelight, you can do flash, lightning storm, fireworks, being arrested by police, lights, whatever you want to do. But also just use it as a nice, color controllable light for photography, for some videography. Puts out a soft band of light, and you're not carrying a lightsaber around with you.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
I feel
That's
like
how
this
it's.
is
Oh
useful
my
if you're
God!
like,
Dan Chung is walking by while we're talking about the product that
That's
he
so
just
funny.
showed us. What?
yeah, that was totally
Do you
unplanned.
think he's been
for
standing right over
maybe.
there, like they're going to talk about it soon, and then I'm going to walk by?
He was off camera and he's like,
some context.
talk about
is-
Nan Light.
Dan is
You
their
don't talk
friend
about
from
the Nan Light.
no.
that we-
But anyways, Dan Light's got a lot of cool products, but that one was pretty neat. It's the portability sake of it is very cool. 1 hour of battery life out of
At
it.
max power.
Yeah, at max power. Yes, thank you, Jaron. And then they have portable batteries you can attach to get like up to 3 hours. So
Or you could just probably plug it into a battery you already
100% you could, yes.
And a lot of modifiers included with it as well, so
Yep.
you can flag things off. And
Yeah, it
just
had
seems
grids
like
for it, which I thought was funny.
If you,
Yes,
if you
grids
need a
on
compact
a
option, yeah,
grids on a lightsaber.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a lightsaber, so you don't look like an absolute dork when you're walking around it. Like a nice
Whoa,
light, for
shots
example.
fired. Most of our audience are those absolute dorks, Jordan. God.
All right.
I love Star Wars, by the way.
So do I. Last thing, Jordan, tell us about Blackmagic's 12K camera.
All right, we have not been there. This is the last. That's tomorrow. It's
Yes,
basically
tomorrow.
We're
We're doing it tomorrow.
It's
And
just
check
so
this out.
far away, guys. Like it's just such a long walk.
To give context, there used to be a central hall that you could walk through. It's being repaired right now and renovated, so you can't. So it's a long
gotta go
walk
for a jog.
in desert heat.
To get to it is probably 20 minutes from here.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, way back in the DP review days, Chris.
Yes.
We reviewed a Blackmagic Ursa 12K
Yes.
camera, and that thing was enormous.
Ridic.
It
yes.
was pretty early, to
Yes.
be totally honest, when we were testing that. We did see some just weird things with the color profiles, things like that. But it has really become solidified. It's a very popular camera for like VFX work and stuff right now because
Yep.
it's a crazy amount of detail and it bends insanely well. So it is a 12K sensor. If you were following the red philosophy, you would just be cropping it to the other resolutions you want. That's not the case with this. You can shoot full width in 4K, 8K, 6K, all of those different resolutions depending on what you want to deliver.
Yes.
Obviously, you'll take a detail penalty, but because it's binning, you're not seeing a huge low light performance drop when
Right.
you do that as well. So it's a very interesting sensor. There's cool technology. Now it's being brought out in a Pixis body, which is a much smaller, I mean, it looks a lot like a Z-Cam or something, or a Sony FX body. It's a very compact one, but still very functional, super well designed. And now that's going to be available for, it was really funny. They're like, $4,000 or $5,000. I mean, wait.
we don't know.
We'll talk to
actually.
you guys. It could be another, who knows? So now we're excited to say the Pixis will one day be released for God knows what.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be less than a 12K Ursa.
Yeah. All right.
And
That
we're going to
was the
see it.
Yeah, that was the stuff that caught our eye
Yeah.
the last 2 days or so.
Yeah, there might be more.
yeah,
we could talk about
revisit
anything else next week. Yeah.
But that's the stuff for now. We are getting close to the end of our time, so we're going to do a couple comments and a couple of our tech supports.
You
and
got
then
it,
We're
as
going to
usual.
call it.
Oh my God, that's Curtis Judd over there.
Hi,
what a
Curtis Judd.
Well,
No,
I don't know how to.
I don't
even
know
cut
if
to
he
this.
wants to. Okay.
Curtis, do you want to come say hi to everybody? Okay. You're gonna have to get.
Who's Curtis? Hi,
You're gonna have to
Curtis.
get really low here, Curtis. Here,
Yeah,
come to
you
the
have to
middle
talk
here.
into the mic.
Come to the middle here, Curtis.
Hi, Curtis.
Hi, Jordan. Hi,
is-
Chris.
This is really exciting for me because audio is the thing I don't know as much about, so I have to watch a lot of Curtis Judd videos to know what the
Yes.
hell I'm talking about. So yeah, having him here is very exciting for me.
It's nice to see you finally.
Pleasure's mine, Chris.
All right. Thank you for saying hi, Curtis. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. All right. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Wow, that takes the place of what have you been up to. So let's go instead to
There
never
you
read
go.
the comments from 10U9. Jordan, where
What?
did you get the puppet made?
So Chris was actually involved with this. I
Yeah.
had nothing to do with the puppet manufacturing, and if you haven't seen them, a lot of people had no idea that we did full DP review episodes with the puppets back in the day.
We
You
did.
can watch the Quest for Chowder or the Nikon Z9 3.0 firmware videos were done with Chris and Jordan puppets.
Yes.
Chris, who did you go to get that made?
I don't remember, honestly, but they were on Etsy. They were out of Italy. I mean, they were custom made. You'll find them on there, but it's a really cool thing. Like, you send them photos, they build it, they build accessories. They made a little monopod for Jordan with
With
a
a
camera on it.
GH6 on top of it. That's what I was shooting with at the time.
It's hilarious. And so you had yours on last week, and I could could have brought mine for this week, except I don't know if you're allowed to bring puppets over the border. I don't know if that's human trafficking or what that is.
The border's tricky right now. We
Yeah,
don't know.
I have a passport, but I don't know if the puppet does. Maybe it wouldn't have made it through. So I didn't bring it, but maybe when we're back home, you might. Yeah, anyways, they're endless. My wife hates the puppets. Like if she sees it in the corner or under the table or something, she loses her mind.
You should put it under her covers, like when she gets into bed and it's just there.
I'm not gonna do that just because I feel like that
You'll be in trouble.
I would suffer certain penalties that I'm not willing to suffer right now. But anyways, there you can find them on there. Made out of Italy, very cool.
Made out of Italy.
Do you want me to find it while you guys talk? Why don't you guys
search
talk?
for custom puppet on Etsy?
Yes.
It pops right up.
I'm gonna find it.
So I will answer a question. And this one is from A.Adilby. They asked me, I have a question for the next Never Read the Comments. How come you are a camera YouTube channel and Jaron's video feed and podcast is always dropping frames and stuttering?
Yeah,
well,
shots
because I
fired.
suck. The real reason is I went and looked into this. I hadn't really been paying that close of attention. I guess I should have. So I'm using an EOS R, and I had that set to shoot at 24 frames per second. And then that was coming in through an HDMI adapter going into my computer, and that is then being read by that adapter at 60 frames per second. And then after that, it was going into Riverside, which is at 30 frames per second. So it was a lot of mixed frame rates. I can't change the way that it's pulling in from my HDMI adapter. So, on the next episode that I shoot, I will be shooting that at 60. And I am sorry, but I will be very smooth.
So if you shoot at 60 at a 60th of a second, Jaron, you're just going to line right up with us 30 and 60
Correct.
people.
That's the
and
goal.
It should be seamless, and you will have nothing to complain about
So,
next
I
year.
apologize.
After you're done complaining about the noise in this episode and Jaron's
Yeah.
frame rates in the previous one.
Okay, so there you go.
Turns out there's like 1,000 custom puppet companies now. When we looked, there was very
one.
few. So good luck. You got lots of choices. Yeah.
If you are an Italian who makes puppets, reach out and we will let people know. If
They
you
did a good
made
job.
our puppet,
Yeah, they did a good job. It's not cheap, just so you
remember
know.
it. Yeah.
All right, we're going to do a couple tech support ones here. The first one is an email from John Cummings. Hi, all. After a lot of years away from photography, I'm starting to get back into taking photos and have a lot of potentially, quote, good photos I want to color grade. I have a background in fine art, so I kind of know what I already want in terms of colors, but I'm struggling to know how to achieve it. I've watched some videos from photographers on YouTube of how they do color grading, which has helped, and obviously practice is helping. But what I'm really looking for is a structured video series on color grading theory and on all of the parts of Lightroom and how to use them. Can you recommend me a series which will take me through it all?
Yes.
Yeah?
You got
Good,
one?
because I
or-
can't.
Not really.
Okay, so here is the issue. There are endless tutorials
Yeah.
that will tell you top to bottom how to use Lightroom, organize everything. But there's generally just like a portion where they talk about the color grading thing, and it's just functionally how to use it. It's not about theory and things like that. So I would watch, and there's endless ones out there on how to use Lightroom. But if you want to learn some technique for it, we bumped into him here. Cam Mackey has an excellent thing on how to get like awesome skin tones when you're grading using. And grading, it's like if you're trying to get a creative look, not just doing color correction. To achieve a specific look, he does lean a lot on, he has custom picture profiles, he has LUTs for video as well, so he does lean on those as kind of a base starting point, but really good. The other one, if you're looking outside of skin tone, is Nigel Danson has an excellent
for landscape.
25-minute color theory tutorial using Lightroom to walk you through how to be a little bit more creative with your color grading, even going completely artificially, what wasn't in front of him, but how to evoke a specific mood.
Nice.
And it's excellent, so check that out as well.
Yeah, presets are certainly a very popular way to achieve quick looks as well if you just want to sort of mimic someone's look or have a series of things. I mean, Lightroom has a lot of presets that you can start with to play around that come with it, so you could try those out as well. But I think most of us, we kind of go through a process of hard-fought experience of what we like in a look, what kind of colors we gravitate towards, what tools we use in Lightroom. So I know, we could do an episode. It's hard to commit time to that when we have so many products to look at.
All right. So the next one is a speak pipe from Chris Williams.
Hello, Chris, Jordan, and Jaron. My name is Chris Williams, and I shoot local motocross photography in the state that I live in here in Oklahoma. My question is, my motocross photography is quite unique. Pretty much what I do is I shoot every racer, every lap, both days, and I distribute this photography for free. I race myself, and I could never really afford the photographers, and I wanted every family, racer, kid, grown adult to have photos of themselves racing. So to give back to that community, this is what I do. Now everything is running smooth and fine. My problem is in my recent upgrade. I went from an R6 to an R5 Mark II. Obviously the file sizes are bigger. How I distribute this photography, instead of just throwing it all of it out there, I have the writers reach out to me through Facebook Messenger, through my Facebook page, and then I distribute it through Messenger to them. It's a great system. Everything works flawlessly, except for my new camera. My file sizes are now over Facebook's 25 megabyte file size cap. I do shoot in RAW. I've tried shooting in RAW compressed, and that wasn't enough to bring it down. I use Lightroom and Photoshop products. My question is, what can I do to continue this the way I'm doing it? Do I compromise quality? Do I try exporting through Lightroom at 50% capacity? I appreciate your help. Love the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so, I think it's important to mention, it seems like Chris Williams is actually delivering in RAW to clients, which is rare, right?
And very kind of him.
Sure, absolutely. He does give them a lot of flexibility to play with it. So the difficulty is really going to come down to if cameras offer you smaller RAW formats. And so the R5 Mark II gives you a compressed RAW format, but it's not going to give you, it's not giving you a smaller megapixel count. Some do. A lot of Sonys do. The A7R5 has a small RAW. And, at first you might think, well, that's crazy. Why would anybody want to sacrifice permanently the image quality in their files? But it's exactly for clients like this who might want to deliver smaller RAW files. And you're right, when you're trying to share with people, it can be hard when these file sizes get even larger. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. If you got an R5 Mark II, you could export as a 16-bit TIFF.
That's going to make it huge too,
massive.
though.
It's still massive, but at a smaller megapixel count. I don't know.
But then you're still processing it. Like that's so. The thing is, you're delivering this to kids out doing motocross. A lot of them probably aren't masters at processing images. I would say, take a look at the lighting conditions on the day you go out. Batch process all those RAW files,
and just deliver JPEGs,
and just deliver those
full resolution JPEGs.
That would be
nice.
Definitely my solution.
Sure, but then they are processed. I mean, we don't exactly know if Chris Williams is trying to give them a final result, but I mean, if you're giving them RAWs, I think you're assuming they're going to edit them themselves. Yeah. So,
my only thing is you could pay for Google Drive or Dropbox, both of which are reasonable, but it is an additional cost to you. And since you're doing this for free, I feel bad suggesting that you increase your price. Yeah. But that's real to deliver these files. I mean, Facebook Messenger, I can see why they put a cap on it. Yeah. This is probably not what they intended it to do. So
one other thing you could potentially do is, if you're going to batch them anyways, just convert them to a lossy RAW file like a DNG, which will be quite a bit smaller even than Canon's compressed RAW. Or best case scenario, you're future-proofing, go JPEG XL. It's very efficient compression. It's not going to be editable on everything, but at least they'll be able to open a preview file anyways.
It should be editable on Photoshop, but if these people you're delivering to are editing the RAW file, I feel like they should be able to.
And Chris, look, if you are trying to give them if you're trying to give them files for final use, and that is your original intention, then absolutely process the RAWs, make them look good. Don't send them the RAW files.
Yeah. All right, the next one is another SpeakPipe from Johan Gran.
Hi guys, as always, enjoying your podcast. It's a lot of friendly banter and honest opinions about all photographic. That's really good. You're the best. 2 thoughts right now. I really enjoy panoramas, and I love the 24x65 Hasselblad pano style, but it's really, I can't set it on my own camera. Is it that difficult? Is that a function that can be added in firmware, do you think? Or why the limit are the users to what kind of crop they want to use? Second point is maybe a much bigger subject. It'd be really great to hear some talk about more technical things about how you actually make cameras and lenses. What's the lead time for a new camera? What kind of volume do you need to get an acceptable ROI on the investment that it takes? Lead time for a new lens. And little bit about how hard is it? Because as a user, you always want, oh, why can't they do this? Why can't they add that? That must be easy. That must be firmware, or they should give this to us for free. What's really the difference between adding some function in firmware or when you really need a new hardware? Thanks a lot, you guys.
Okay, so yeah, those are some good questions, Johan. I guess to answer the first one, it really does depend on the camera, right? I mean, so for example, the GFX 100 RF is a great example that we just played with, where you've got a 100 megapixel sensor, and so there's lots of room to crop. And so part of the actual point of this camera design is that you can crop to these ultra wide frames, so much so they actually committed a dial to aspect ratio, and that's really cool. As far as what other crop factors are available on a camera, it really depends. Most manufacturers, especially when you get into higher-end cameras, they tend not to include that. They just assume that you're going to do it yourself. And so it varies. Some cameras do it for fun. It's rare to see Hasselblad level, like double frame wide panoramic cropping on cameras.
Yeah, it seems to be the medium format companies that are really leaning into this, because the Hasselblad has that built right in.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing it with the Fujifilm. I mean, if you've got some gaff tape, just slap a little on the top and bottom, shoot raw, and crop it afterwards.
On
you
your
will
screen,
get effectively the exact same results as shooting
Jordan's
raw
talking
with
about
one of these.
Jordan's talking about modifying your actual LCD panel.
Yeah, just tape it over. Now you're pre-visualizing wide.
I don't know if I necessarily love that recommendation,
Nope,
Jordan.
It's not a bad one in my
because you're also going to block out like a lot of the exposure data.
You don't need that.
Come on.
That's what the EVF is for,
You're
all right?
being
To get your exposure with the EVF, you got your LCD for composition. I have cracked the code. I am a hero.
You know what? While you're at it, just take a glass cutter with a ruler to your LCD glass and just etch some frame lines on
Does
it.
anyone want to applaud me for my great solution?
I don't know if I love that idea. But
so the other question was, he's asking us to talk more about the technical things about making cameras and lenses. To answer that, it is extremely difficult for us to do that because they don't tell us.
Yeah, it's actually one of the things they keep the most secret. Especially questions about ROI and stuff. But let's give some context, though. Like, there are some things we could say. When it comes to a new lens design, we've heard numbers anywhere from a couple years to 3 or 4 years. Like,
Depending
I guess
on complexity.
Yeah, it's not something you can do overnight. Even though optical formulas are a known thing, when a company envisions a new optical formula, it often takes years.
Like when Sigma makes a brand new thing no one's ever done before, that's going to take more time than being like, well, we'll just make another 35-1.2.
Absolutely. And as far as things like design choices, because I mean, this is something that honestly we probably complain about more than even the end user does, is like, hey, what can we do as far as adding this feature, that feature? Why did you make this decision? A lot of that really comes down, there's, again, years of the designers, the engineers, the creatives doing a feedback loop to decide how are we finally going to make this camera, what's the end result. And they do put a lot of thought into it, I'll give them that. You can't make everybody happy.
I would say that lenses typically 2 to 3 years.
That's what
cameras
5.
At least 3 up to 5.
Yeah, if it's a dramatic change. And firmware as well. Like, I was guilty of this on our recent Nikon meeting, where I'm just like, there's different LUTs built into the Z5 II compared to the other Nikon bodies. Just fix that. And you can see they're just like, okay, that's going to take us months. But I'm like, come on, do it, damn it. It's just a firmware fix. I'm Jordan Drake.
In some cases, the companies are set up to do more firmware updates, but they have to envision that before they launch the camera. They have to build basically the architecture of the software has to be prepared for that, which is why you'll see it more often now than you did before, because they weren't doing it before, but now it's more common.
I would say, like, most companies out there are actually quite proactive about delivering firmware updates, and that is one of the, I'm not going to say easy, it's a lot of work to do it, but it's certainly one of the fastest and most realistic ways of changing the camera's operations quickly, and they do that all the time. But yeah, otherwise, honestly, I think when it comes to lens manufacturing and body manufacturing, let's just realize it is a very thought-out process. It takes a long time to change. Yeah.
All right, we're going to do one more. This is from Senthil Kumar.
Hello, PetaPixel team. This is Kumar. I've been a long-time follower of Chris and Jordan, and since them joining PetaPixel, Jaron as well. Thank you all for doing what you do. I'm a photography enthusiast getting increasingly interested in videos. I'm looking to create stable footage of family and friends when we travel. I currently use the Canon R with a 24-105 f4 L lens. My question is whether I should consider a gimbal like the RS3 Mini or something similar, or rely on a monopod and lens image stabilization. I would ideally want the solution we choose to best work for travel videography and allow me to conveniently switch in and out for photography as well. Thank you very much.
I will say that camera and lens combination is what I use for the podcast at home. But
Right.
I don't move
Locked
that
off.
camera
Yeah.
because it does not have stabilization, so I can
Yeah.
see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically a monopod I think is a great tripod replacement if you've got, because you still have lens-based stabilization in that. So it's going to be
Yes.
totally fine for like a locked off, keep it steady. If you want to move with it, then yeah, a gimbal is going to make more sense.
100%.
I've done poor man Steadicam where you just find the center of gravity, pinch it, and you bend your knees and you waddle like a penguin, and that works, but
Yeah.
you look like an idiot, and I wouldn't want to do it for a family vacation for hours. So yeah, a gimbal would make a lot of sense for you.
Yeah,
and I do
absolutely.
think that RS3 is really nice value right now.
Yeah,
The
otherwise-
4's not a huge update unless
Yeah.
you want vertical.
Or bodies that have IBIS. I mean, that is the other option. That can help quite a bit if you want to do more handheld work with motion. But yeah, it's then you're looking at another body. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week.
Yeah.
As far as feeling good about stuff, I know that it's been a pretty depressing news week, but I really
bummer
want to say
show.
thank
But
you
NAB
to
is
Rode.
fun.
Thank
Yeah.
you to Rode for supplying us with
Yes.
the location and the microphones and then helping us troubleshoot all of this. We really
And
appreciate
for
it.
keeping most people out of our path. That was a lot of work.
You
I know.
effectively became bouncers, which I don't know is what you
Yes,
signed up for.
But yes.
So thank you guys so much for doing this.
Yeah, this setup has been great. We really appreciate having this for audio. NAB's super fun. Don't let us
That
take
could
away.
be, that could be a feel-good
NAB
story.
that's our feel good story.
It is
NAB's
crowded.
like people are here with beers now hanging out and it's like getting loud, and so it's a good time to stop the podcast.
The feel-good story, I think, is we had a lot of people run up and chat with us about the show,
Yes.
and that's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So we always say, like, don't worry, even if I look like a panicky mess, which is the majority of the time, like, still come up, say hi. It's great to meet all of you.
One last thing I want to add for anyone still listening to this far into the podcast.
Saray makes good tripods.
If Chris and Jordan were, say, in New York. We got
See, there
the
you go. Hey, right at the end. Yeah, just to prove the
Chris
point.
and
It does
Jordan were,
happen.
say, in New York, would you want a dedicated time to come say hello to them? Just let me know. Give me an eyeball or a ballpark. Sorry, that's the right one. The ballpark idea of how many of you would want to do that. So put those in the comments below. Thanks again to Audio for sponsoring this podcast.
Yes.
Thanks to Rode for giving us the mics. We'll catch you all next week. See you later.
Bye.
Hey.